Welcome to another beautiful August day. This morning was cool weather, it was breezy, and yesterday I even saw a breeze come by and blow yellow leaves. I don't know where the yellow leaves blew from, but I saw them. It was wonderful. Today I wanted to bring you some things to think about when it comes to before you move off grid, or if you've just moved off grid, start to think about these things because they are very important and they are something that will help you to have the best homesteading experience. Now, some of these things were compiled from some comments I got from other videos, and so thank you so much to everybody who commented and gave your suggestions. They're so helpful. Number one is think about distance to emergency services. When you call out, how will you call out? Do you have enough phone service? Do you have a spot that you could get phone service that you know of that you could easily access? And how far and what are the best ways for you to get to emergency services or for them to get to you? From my own personal experience, several years ago, I needed an ambulance and I was way out in my country home and the ambulance took 25 minutes to get to me. Well, I could have had my husband drive me to town and I would have been able to meet the ambulance there way faster than they could have gotten to me, than they did get to me. So think about when you need an ambulance, or when somebody else, God forbid, but if somebody needs an ambulance, what is the best way to get to that ambulance? Because maybe having someone drive you there could actually be a little bit to meet the ambulance, could actually be better than waiting for the ambulance to come. Now that dovetails into the second point, which is cell phone reception. Is the place that you want to buy going to have cell phone reception? And if not, is there a way to circumnavigate that if you truly want to access the internet? Also, don't underestimate how accustomed you are to being able to access the internet anytime you want, or to having a phone call that doesn't constantly drop. Even with my Starlink satellite, I'm not sure why, but sometimes I still have dead parts of our phone call where phone calls will just kind of drop and then I can hear the person again in maybe 30 seconds. Those 30 seconds can be very difficult because sometimes that can be a lot of information lost in a phone call. The other day I had to call poison control because one of my kids ate something they should not have, and I had called poison control, was talking to them on the phone cuts out. That's frustrating. Thankfully, it picks right back up and I go back to hearing the guy talk about all the information I need to know, but those things are so frustrating. So don't underestimate how used to good service you are right now, and be prepared to have backups in case your service fails. Road accessibility. Is your driveway unusable in rain or snow? Are you prepared to stay home if your driveway is too icy to safely get out or come back in? I have friends who live behind several creeks, and if there's a really good rain, they cannot go out and they cannot go back in. Don't underestimate water, especially in country areas where you have bridges that sometimes get flooded over. We have a lot of those as well. And several years ago, a mother got her car swept over. Just a couple of inches were over the bridge, but that was enough to go underneath the car tires, sweep the car off, and she made it out alive, but her two little babies did not. And they were like 2 years old and under. They were really little. And that was a tragic, tragic thing that happened. I have friends that I know personally who were in a vehicle and the vehicle got stalled in the water and was pushed over. That was a terrifying event. So don't underestimate the power of water, and also remember to assess the safety of your roads and driveways in inclement weather. Community. Can you make connections with the people in your local area? That could be the library. That could be the things and events that happen in the local town square. What is going on in your local community? What events are being put on? There might be a Facebook page you can join. There could be some kind of a calendar you can get that tells you the month's pre-planned events. So find a way to connect to your local community, which goes into the library, as I just mentioned. Truly, the library is an amazing resource. Our local library is so small, but it's a powerhouse of not only amazing people who work there, amazing people who come there, but the programs that they provide for free are phenomenal. The programs are really, really great for kids especially, but they also have really great learning opportunities for adults. That's what makes it so joyful to be in this area, because these people truly care about the other people in their community. Commute to work. Do you care about a 30-minute drive to work one way? Is that something that would bother you? Do you care about an hour drive to work? My husband will drive even up to an hour and a half to work one way. And he just does what he does. He doesn't mind it because the scenery out here is so beautiful. And we're still, after all of these years, amazed by the greenery. So he does not mind. But other people we know hate it. They're in the same area and they don't have the same perspective. So that's a deal breaker for them, and it could be for you. Bugs and wildlife. Can you deal with the ticks and the mosquitoes during the summer? I look down at my legs, they are bitten up. This spring, it looked like I had chicken pox. It was not good. The itching, the chiggers, terrible. Do you have bears and coyotes in your area? We have, I don't know, remember, is it a mountain lion? Our friends, I think, have, it's a mountain lion or it's a bobcat. And apparently there's a difference. I don't remember. But they have one of them that's been caught on a game camera, and it's causing some issues, and they haven't been able to catch it. So those are things that you need to consider. How are you with all of that? Do you have a plan B if it doesn't all work out? Now, some of us, if we have a plan B, we feel like we're not truly fully committed to the process. So maybe you don't really need to have a plan B, and maybe it's in your best interest not to have a plan B. But being flexible of mind, and considering having a plan B for if this particular idea doesn't work out could be something that gives you a lot of peace and saves you a headache later on. Now, maybe you are fine and all gung-ho about doing this whole off-grid thing, and maybe in your head it looks like a very specific thing, but what if one of your family members hates it? What if your spouse does it with you and is like, you know what? Forget this. I want to go and still live in the country, but I want to go to a house that's on the grid. Whatever the case is, you have to be flexible and be able to have those conversations. Speaking of a spouse, is your husband or your wife completely on board with you? Are you guys in this together? Are you honoring each other's wishes? And are you guys each a safe place for the other person to come and say, this is not working for me? And that's okay. And are you gonna flip out on them? Are they gonna flip out on you? Or can you both come together and try to hear that the other person is expressing their heart, their fears, their worries, what they love, what they don't love, and maybe be able, as a team together, to find a better solution that works for you? Maybe the solutions that you come up with at first might not be the answer. That doesn't mean that off-grid is not for you. It means that maybe you need to find another solution. But after you've exhausted several solutions and you still hate it, or your spouse still hates it, are you able to have that conversation together, to honor each other, to hear each other, and to come to a conclusion? It might seem overwhelming, and this is not even an exhaustive list of all the different things to consider before moving off-grid or if you've just moved off-grid, but keep it up. If you have the basic necessities down, if you have hardiness, if you have grit, I believe in you. You'll figure it out as you go. So get to it and enjoy the process.